This time on the channel, we're talking about how far someone could ollie on flat, and we're answering some of your questions on Ask Rad Rat. Let's do it. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel about skateboarding, where I talk about all different kinds of skateboarding topics, from reviewing old skateboarding games, to teaching tricks, to answering your questions, to biographies of your favorite pros, to anything else I can think of. But today we're answering questions, the first of which is from James, who says, why do people appreciate switch heel flips so much? So just because it's switch, then why won't switch flips be just as popular? The reason is a lot of people find heel flips easier switch. So like the best heel flips ever done, the biggest gaps, the highest up, like going upstairs, or like, you know, anything, the gnarliest heel flips in any category are probably going to be switch, just because more people can do them easier switch. So it's not because it's a switch heel flip, it's just because it's a heel flip, but everyone does them switch. Like the biggest kick flips, the best kick flips, the highest, the most stylish ones, those are all going to be in your normal stance for the most part. Best heel flips are all switch. So you just hear about switch heel flips a little bit more than normal ones, but nothing too weird about it. The next set of questions is from Oliver, who sent me like 45 of them, and I picked out 3. First one is, you talked about pressure ollies in a previous video. What are those and how can I do them? They're nothing and you can't do them. It's like a nonsense term that was in one of the Tony Hawk games. So in Tony Hawk's Underground, they put in a pressure stance. So instead of adding in pressure flips as a trick, they have it being like a different stance. So like you tap the shoulder button to go from normal to pressure, and then if you hit it again, you go up to an ollie. And if you did a kick flip, it would be a pressure flip. A heel flip would be a pressure hard flip. Then there's 360 pressure flips, 360 hard flips, toe flips, and then, but if you go into that stance and you just ollie, it would just say pressure ollie. It's not a real trick. It's not a thing. It's just like something they had to put in because you can't stop someone from doing an ollie. You know, like that would have made the game play worse. So they had to do something just so the game would function right. So it's like a nonsense term. It's kind of a joke. It's just something I mention on the channel from time to time. All right, your next question is, has anyone done an impossible out of a Casper? Is that even possible? No, not really, because, you know, your foot's on the tail and then the truck and the wheel is right there. So you'd have to wrap like over the wheel and then you'd land upside down anyway. But one thing I think is possible that I would like to see is like a frontside 360 shove it that wraps. So if you had your front foot kind of back toward the tail, you could kind of swing it front side, pull it around, and get the board back upright, and do like another half and kind of wrap it around. It'd be like a front foot impossible, kind of, but it'd be your foot would be starting in the back, pulling it forward, and then bringing it back again. So you'd probably land with your feet back together on the tail again. Technically possible, I think. I would like to see more frontside stuff out of Casper because it's hard. I can do a frontside shove it out. It's not, you know, that's not a big deal. But trying to do like a frontside Casper to Casper should be possible, and yet it's not. It's not easy, like, because stuff with Caspers is really hard because you have to jump off of one foot. You know, your front foot is holding up the board. Your back foot is holding down the board, and you got to jump off just the one leg. You know, like if you do a nose manual, you know, something out, you can jump with both feet even though your weight's mostly on your front foot. You still can use your back foot. With a Casper, you're actually fighting, you know, you're fighting your front foot as you're jumping off of the back foot. It's hard to do anything. Like a Casper 360 flip, I was trying to do one a couple weeks ago, and I can do a Casper 360 flip and land upside down, you know, like one single flip. I can do that all day. Getting that extra half flip to land back on the grip tape is really, really hard for me. Like it's torture. And you get tired quick because jumping as hard as you can off of one leg is tough. Doing a front side spin, like a front side shove it, not so bad. But to do a front side shove it and try to flip it and then pull your foot back up, like tripping over yourself in the air and then catching it again, really, really hard. I would like to see more Casper frontside stuff. Maybe someone will do it. It's probably not going to be me, though. Okay, your next question is, who invented the crooked grind? Dan Paterka. He did them in Plan B videos, I think. Or was it H Street? I think it was Plan B. Or was it H Street? I don't know. I believe he's the guy who invented it. He seems to be the one who got the credit. after a while, Costin started to do them, and he was doing them front side and back side, and he was doing them switch and all this kind of stuff. And people started calling it the K grind, like it was named after Costin, but Dan Patirka is actually the guy who did it first, I believe. I'm not sure of the pronunciation on that, but it's Peter, K-A, Patirka. I think that's what it is. Okay. The last question for today is from Thomas, who says, what do you think will be the farthest someone can ollie on flat ground? I saw a video of a guy clearing roughly 17 feet, but I don't know if that's the record. So that was Jordan Hoffart. He did 16 and a half feet. It's on the Ride channel, so you have to look it up yourself. They don't really like when you borrow their footage for something, so I will show you a screenshot so you can picture what it is, but you'll have to look it up if you want to see that. So he cleared 16 and a half feet. So I wanted to figure out what's a reasonable maximum. As far as like the physics and everything, I'm not going to go crazy with like, the answer is like 100 feet. If you had a specially made board where the trucks wouldn't wobble and you had really big wheels and you could do a perfect world record height ollie going 100 miles, you know what I mean? But like, what's a reasonable possible distance that you could ollie? And so I watched his attempt where he lands, and I counted the frames. It was 14 frames at 29.97 frames per second. It was 0.44 of a second. That's how much airtime he had. But how fast could he possibly go? The Barracks has a series, like the world's fastest whatever. Hard flip 180 or Smith grind or whatever, that type of stuff. And there was a Chris Joslin one where he does a big spin. And his maximum speed at trying this big spin is 28 miles per hour. It's completely crazy. But I was thinking, that's a big spin. That's a trick. What if he just had to do a pretty good ollie? I think 30 miles per hour is reasonable. You don't have to worry about pushing to get up to that speed. We can imagine there's a drop-in ramp or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just like you could comfortably, going 30 miles an hour, do a nice ollie. The other big difference is in the actual video, the Jordan Hoffart one, it's in like a parking lot. It's a smooth parking lot, but you can see as he's pushing, like the board's kind of, starting to get shaky and everything. You'd have to have really nice ground like at the Barracks to go 30 miles an hour and comfortably do a trick. But, okay, so he's in the air for 0.44 of a second. He is going 30 miles an hour, this theoretical person. How much distance does he cover? Well, 30 miles an hour is like 40... Hold on, let me look it up. It's 44 feet per second, 0.47 seconds. I was wrong, 0.47 seconds. And that is a distance of 20.7 feet. So 20.7 feet is a completely possible gap size, I think. Be very hard, and again, you need really nice smooth ground where you can go that fast comfortably. But that seems like it's pretty doable. Someone in the comments said that Jordan was doing 20 and a half miles per hour. So I think they just counted frames, how long it took him to cover 16 and a half feet. He's going about 20 and a half miles per hour. But yeah, in theory, you could go about 30, I think. So that's my answer to that. If you've got questions, go to radratvideo.com, submit them there, or email radratvideo@gmail.com, and I'll check those out and maybe include them in the next one. Or you can submit them through Patreon, where I will definitely answer you either directly or on video. But until your question gets picked, subscribe by tapping my logo in the center of the screen, and also watch some of the other videos YouTube recommends. Thanks for watching.